to keep thinking about it, man. Yeah, thinking about it. Sometimes you just gotta be grateful for life, grateful for life. Thank you, mama. Love you, mama. Look back at things and so many million people talking about whether you non-vaxxed or vaccinated or Republican, this or that, or whether you've been criminalized or whether you were immigrant, naturalized, talk about it. Whether you were Christian, Muslim, Jew, Hebrew Israelite, all of them divisive things, man. Sometimes it's just good to see a person alive. I woke up and I just can't believe it's a lot of folk that ain't breathing. It's a lot of folk here just like me, like such and such still crying, or such and such just died, or such and such about the Democrats or Republicans still lying. But here we are with life, virus free with no Omicron. And I pray for those that pray for me on a dang fast or Ramadan. Now it's time to put it in the rear view. No mirror for the clear view. So many folk talking hopeless, turn the music up, I can't hear you. I swear the bombs didn't kill it. Lost my brother and my dad. Then a couple folk went before that, then a whole lot more after that. Now here we are in the aftermath. Footsteps, I appreciate it. Love all my family and my people, whether non-vaxxed or the vaccinated. Some still say it's all fabricated. Other folks like no, but we know for sure when God say it's time to go, we go. Until then it's like big cheese, all love with a black fist. And I'm thanking God for the small things coming every day that I live. God has given us another day. I would rather see you this way, this way. Mask on my face, mask on. I would rather see you this way. I'd even rather see you this way. Even with a mask on your face, I'd really rather see you this way. Alive, and that ain't no lie. When I open my eyes, I never ask why. I'm too thankful for mercy, for not passing me by. I'm grateful for life, yours and mine. No time for strife and division. Gotta leave it behind, along with violence and crime. We can't keep pretending that it's worth the division just to see you alive. I'd rather see you. God has given us another day. I would rather see you this way, this way. Mask on my face, mask on. I would rather see you this way. God has given us another day. I'd even rather see you this way, this way. Mask on your face, mask on. I'd really rather see you this way. I love the concept of that. I love the concept of that. See you alive, man. It's Krown Deon, man, and I can't see everybody visibly, but I see names and I see connections and I see people tagged in and I know people listening on the radio. So I can't see you, but I'm still glad to see you alive. Yeah, always. Once again, it's Krown Deon, and I actually miss the people, man. You know, I got an intro song, not really an intro song, but I got another song that I want to play. You know, I kind of wanted to give not kind of wanted to give a shout out, but my sister and my brother's father died last week, and I remember the last time I performed, I won't say it was probably the last time, but I would definitely say the last time I performed in front of one Watson L. Haynes, and he introduced me, and he always gave me a grand introduction, but I want to say rest in peace to one Watson Haynes, a large man in the community. But even bigger than the community work that he did at the Urban League, he was a president and over the Urban League. But even bigger than the work that he did for the Urban League was the work that he actually displayed himself in life. You know, he actually walked that walk, but he also talked the talk. You know, he talked that talk, but he also walked the walk. He was always a community guy, always showing love, and just always smiling, always showing hope. And it was just a beautiful thing, shocking to hear, but you know, that's how it is, life. And you know, the best thing we can hope is for strength and to keep going. Also, my uncle Jimmy passed, and so I want to say to the Bennett family, to mine and to all of his brothers and sisters and siblings, you know, God is good and keep your head strong. And you know, we just live to do it again another day. So Matthew, I appreciate you, buddy. Back at WTAN, as I did not give station identification, but I want to. This is WTAN Tan Talk Radio. This is Krown Deon with Revolutionary Road. Unapologetically revolutionary. You can call us up at 727-441-3000, or you can just tune in as always on our YouTube channel and log in on Facebook or Instagram. Just giving you the facts, unafraid and balanced, as they say on Fox. Anyway, I want to give thanks. And Matthew, give us that next cut, please. This was the last song I did, and Watson introduced me as Krown Deon. But for those families, I just pray for strength for you and we can stand up and be a little strong.
Now this song right here is for you. Listen. For every mountain, every trial, every storm, and every battle, he's seen you through them all. So count your blessings, name them one by one, and get ready, cause I'm sure there's more to come. That's what I believe. Cause he's never let you down, never let you down. He's always been around, always been around. He answers every time you call, every time you call. And he will catch you if you fall, catch you if you fall. So stand up if you love the Lord and you know he reigns. Then you know that all power is in his name. Open your mouth if you're ready for change. If you believe and you're not ashamed. Stand up if you love the Lord and you know he reigns. Then you know that all power is in his name. Open your mouth if you're ready for change. If you believe and you're not ashamed. Stand up.
Yeah, you heard that. Everybody stand up like you dancing, ain't no shame. Gonna lift your hands up. All power in his name. God is our commander. Women got a woman up and then we better stand up. Sometimes I can't stand up. Some folks they don't ever fight. Some folks fight for equal rights while others fight for Jesus Christ. Can't believe it, my. We should all just testify. There's a bomb in Gilead and every day in West
Stand up if you love the Lord and you know he reigns. Then you know that all power is in his name. Open your mouth if you're ready for change. If you believe and you're not ashamed. Stand up if you love the Lord and you know he reigns. Then you know that all power is
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate him as a father. I appreciate him as a man, and everything you did for not only family, but for the community. And so, well, what do we have here? It's like back to reality. I couldn't even speak about, it was hard to just have those negative, not really negative, but hard to kind of have those thoughts in your mind when you really got tragedies and you're really dealing with family issues. And so last week I had to tap out. But like when you tap out, or every time you take a break, you realize that it probably wasn't the right thing to do. You know why? Because all it takes is for you to blank 1 minute. And boy, the nation don't stop. It don't stop. So it's like we got to keep on bringing it for the people, because if we don't inform the people will not be informed. And I'm so surprised. You know, I thought about, since our people don't stay informed as much, or it seems like we like to wait for others to inform us. And I don't know why we're not tired of that yet. but hopefully we will get tired of that at some point. So the government is out of control. That's a fact. If you're not listening or paying attention, then that might sound crazy, but if you are, then you know the government is really, really and totally out of control, man. So they got raids. Obviously, you got the Trump raid. Everybody can talk about that. Raiding a former president's home. And then when you look at that, it's like, it's not the only raid that happened. It's not the only raid that, like simultaneously, the FBI is using some type of power they've gotten in a different way. The FBI is definitely not afraid to weaponize itself against the people. We saw it with teachers, or we saw it actually with the parents first in Virginia, when parents would stand up and go down to the schoolhouse. And I appreciate all the listeners and supporters. It's Krown Deon, Revolutionary Road, and you're listening to Tan Talk Radio, 1340 AM in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. And so I'm just speaking about how the FBI has been weaponized, and how the FBI is no longer investigative branch to solve these high sophisticated. I mean, you remember back in the days when we thought FBI, it was like, only really, really high intelligence or some type of crime that police wasn't solving, on the ground, the most faithful people probably, and those are the things that we think. We even think that, we could call the FBI, a police to police, and this and that. Nah, the FBI has been weaponized against the citizens of the United States. What other raid? Let's talk about the Trump raid. We don't really want to talk about it, but I'm just kind of getting to a point here. The Trump raid was a couple of weeks ago. Also, a couple of weeks ago, they raided the party known as the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru House, Aquaba Hall, simultaneously in two different areas at one time. They also raided this Project Veritas, one of the offices of Project Veritas. I think anybody listening, if you actually want to be informed, yes, Deja. And I always, as always, for the people listening online and on radio, we do have our good brother and friend Matthew back in the studio engineering. I appreciate him as always. And we got Deja, as always, the best information specialist in the world. But yes, so Project Veritas. If you actually haven't heard of Project Veritas, then you're probably missing a lot. They just one of these nuisance type of organizations that make themselves a nuisance actually in the side of these political groups that just lie. And so it's like Project Veritas are always those people taking a recorder in somebody's office and asking them questions and taking cameras to this place and that place. So guess what? Somebody from the Project Veritas office was allegedly in possession of Joe Biden's daughter's diary. All right. Now, if we're familiar, or we remember, or we think about it, and if we're being honest with ourselves, we remember that Joe Biden and his daughter was always supposed to be taking showers together. Those are Joe Biden's words, not mine. And, a lot of this stuff they clean up because, these are things that Joe Biden talked about openly. But as he became president, they had to clean up a lot of stuff. So the diary for his daughter went missing in Project Veritas. And oh yeah, it's missing. And so Project Veritas got it. And now their offices are being raided. Now you ask yourself, why don't you see this on the news? Why aren't you hearing this on the news? Well, I just told you. I just told you basically why you're not hearing it on the news. They'll tell you quickly, whoa, we raided Trump. We raided Trump. Oh, he's dirty. Oh, he's evil. Oh, he's this and that. But they won't tell you they raided Project Veritas, because then you would ask why. And then they would have to say, well, we got Joe Biden's daughter's diary. Who knows what's in that diary? Speaking of Joe Biden's daughter, it kind of makes me think of Joe Biden's son. And, you know, when you think of Joe Biden's son, I don't know if anybody has paid attention to Zuckerberg, the one in over Facebook and Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg. I think I said his first name right. And so the one in control of Zuckerbucks, the one in control of most of social media. So a beautiful thing happened this week. Mark Zuckerberg, the guy in control of Facebook, it's important. And I know sometimes I hit it in the head too long, or I drive a nail, I drive a point, but it's important. There's an interview. It's amazing how much the rich will share with the rich. If you want to, you know, if you're concerned or if it matters, there's an interview that Mark Zuckerberg did with Joe Rogan, another millionaire, you know, multi-millionaire. And like I said, it's amazing what this rich share with the rich. So why am I bringing this up? Because I told people, I don't even like to say I told you so. I really hate it, but I don't like to be wrong. You know what I mean? So I feel all right. I feel better being right. Hey, sis, what's up? And I like to actually lean on the fact that I had my facts right. So I'm gonna just come out and say it. I told y'all. I told people how the manipulation was happening. I told people that Facebook was an operative, it's almost like a robot. I told people how information was being controlled to control your vote, to make you lean or vote. You know, it's amazing to me that all the people in the hood, we love to say, get out your feelings. Get out your feelings. Oh, you in your feelings, boo. That's especially my sisters. My sisters, they drive it to the head. You know, the women, not just my sisters, but even all women now. That's a saying. You know, get out your feelings. And it's a good saying, you know, because sometimes I'm doing good, sis. I'm just spitting the narrative, speaking on the truth. You know, it's getting out of control. So we got to talk about it and stay informed. And I appreciate you for always joining. Yeah. So, you know, that's the thing. Get out your feelings. But people are so caught in their feelings that they don't want to hear nothing if it's true, especially if it offends them. They actually rather hear a lie if it make them feel good. And so I used to talk about it, information being controlled. Anyway, long story short, Mark Zuckerberg, the owner, leader, the guy that controls Facebook, and that's important. I got to say it again, Facebook. He actually had an interview. He's on the Joe Rogan show, the Joe Rogan Experience, I think that's what it's called. Look it up. All you have to do is put in YouTube, Zuckerberg, and Joe Rogan. It's going to come up. He's on there actually telling Joe Rogan, another millionaire. He didn't share it with us. He didn't share it with the poor people. He didn't share it with the Black people. He didn't share it with the Spanish population, the Latino population. He didn't share it with the poor white population. In other words, he didn't share it with none of the poor people sitting home, waiting to be informed, looking at social media to be informed, actually depending on fake news to be informed for the truth. He didn't share it with none of them, but the FBI knocked on his door 2 years ago. In other words, before the election, and told him and his people, Facebook, I need you to kill the Hunter Biden story because it's all fake Russian propaganda and none of it is real. The laptop story is not real. And now we all know that that was a big lie. Now we all know, and we see in the news more and more coming out. And you say, what does that got to do with the election? It got a lot to do with the election because you have a man sitting in the chair right now whose son is selling secrets, whose son is making money off of the United States. And then when you look at how weak we are, then when you look at how weak we are in comparison to what China is doing, China is making threats, China doing anything they want to do. And all they're telling us is, y'all got bigger problems. Y'all son over here making money off of anything we do. As a matter of fact, shut up before we turn him in. You know, it's just crazy. And everything, or the smallest thing that it looked like Donald Trump or anybody who's a Republican. Actually, there's another Republican congressman whose phone got taken. You know, that they are violating the rights of anybody who actually stand up and say this is not right. For anybody that would actually stand up and say, no, that's a lie. For anybody to actually stand up and call out fake news. I mean, for Mark Zuckerberg to go on and tell Joe Rogan how he knew that, or basically not how he knew, because he didn't know at the time, but at the same time, that don't mean you should have killed the story. But to acknowledge that the FBI came to him and said, squash this story. And now that we see the story it was 100% true, I think that's a problem, because we're still being controlled by some of these same powerful media prospects. I mean, that's crazy. So I think in regards to that, I think, you know, you just can't depend on Facebook. I'm one of those people that got canceled on Twitter for sharing the story. I'm one of those people that got canceled on Facebook for about 7 days. I got put in Facebook jail more than once for talking about the Hunter Biden laptop. I mean, come on, man. The guys, I mean, hey, you know, do what you want to do. You know, have all the sex you want to have, you know, smoke crack, all you want to smoke, but come on, man. This is the president's son. The president's son is a crackhead, and he's making deals all over the world. I mean, all somebody got to do is come up with the best crack, and they can have the best American secrets. And we acting like this ain't a problem. That's a problem. I mean, this same guy is buying prostitutes like crazy. So, I mean, and then you got his daddy talking about showering with his sister and the daughter. It's out of control. And it's amazing to me that all of the people that turned into politicians and that talk, all of that talk while Donald Trump was president, has absolutely nothing to say right now. That is crazy and amazing to me. Deja says high level hypocrisy. POTUS, which is president of the United States, for those that may not know that, allows immigrants to come in, however, but Americans can't get help or live normal lives due to vaccination statutes. You are absolutely, you know, I'm so glad. That's why I'm so glad and grateful for that comment, because it's a great segue, Deja. And the great thing is, you know, when I sit up and speak, it's like we could tie everything in. You know, everything, has something to do with the other thing. Deja says high level hypocrisy. The POTUS is allowing immigrants or migrants, or we'll just call them other people that are not civilians of the country, are not right now naturally should be able to walk into this country, in the country. Unvaccinated, unchecked, and there are people that are struggling here, and that are the struggle is getting even harder for them because of stuff like vaccination statutes. Now let's talk about some of that. Let's look at Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., they are doing no remote schooling. In other words, and I say this to the Black population, if you Black, you already know it's the truth. And if you're in Washington, D.C. and you Black, you better wake up. In Washington, D.C., there is no remote schooling at all right now, not due to COVID. In other words, if you had remote and you was already doing some type of online thing that I don't know about, then it might still be good. But all of the remote COVID emergency schooling programs and things like that happen, that stuff is not happening in Washington, D.C.
where a black mayor resides over Washington, D.C. What am I talking about? Why am I even mentioning that? Well, because if you're not vaccinated in Washington, D.C., you can't go to school. So wait a minute. If you're not vaccinated, you can't go to school, but the online programs that they put in place for children that can't go to school can't go to these online schools. How is this? But millions of migrants have entered this country since Joe Biden has been president. Now, that might be, I wouldn't be surprised, hundreds of thousands actually this year. So, there have been millions since he's been president, but you're telling me that Black, brown, and poor kids in Washington can't go. And believe me, if Washington doing it, there's other states that's doing it. But it's ironic and it's sad because we know that this is affecting more Black and poor kids than anybody. More Black and Latino and Spanish kids than anybody. Mexican kids than anybody. If you are poor, this is affecting you more than it is affecting the average child. And in Washington, D.C., we know it is a very high African population. And so you're telling me you can't go to school remotely, but if you did not get vaccinated, you can't go to school. Now that's a contradiction for a party, a Democratic Party that says we are for the poor. We are for the uneducated. We are for those who are struggling in America. We are for those that want to get in America. We are for anybody that feels like they are disenfranchised. The Democratic Party is for you, but that is baloney. That is BS, and everything they are doing, every step and measure that they take, right, thank you. Every step and measure that they take is contradictory to their whole platform. When you look up what these parties are supposed to stand for, I hate to say it, but I don't know how Blacks are still Democrats, because even if you just look at the principle of what they stand for, just look at the principle of what it stands for. Don't look at the white people that get on TV that make you upset because they talk in the wrong way, and you can see some of their racism coming out. You really can. You can. I do get it. I do get it why some Blacks can't stomach Fox News. I get it. But get out your feelings, as I said earlier. All right? Because everything that the Democratic Party preaches and acts like they have on a mantle for poor Black, Latino, and Mexican people all over the world fighting to get into America, those that have a dream, is opposite of the actions that they take. Period. Look at the mantle in itself. Think about it. When you talk about Republican Party, look it up. I'm giving you, obviously, I'm doing an ad lib, but look it up. God, education, country, family. Those are the Republican principles. And not Krown Beyond, Republican. Look at what the Democratic Party offers you, and they prove it every day. Government control and some type of organized way of life that don't have nothing to do with us as individuals. And one more thing I forgot to say, if I didn't say it, when it came to the Republican Party. God, it can't be more clear. It cannot be more clear. It cannot be more clear. We have to wake up as people, as individuals sitting at home. Deja says at home, we're talking about the vaccination hypocrisy, right? Nurses. Yeah, nurses, those ones with those white uniforms. Sometimes, we getting a little special and sporty these days, so they come in all colors with the crops, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Nurses, as they say, the ones on the front line, those people who was going to the hospitals when families couldn't even go to the hospital to see their family member who dying. Remember that? People who had a family member who was dying in the hospital couldn't even go and see their family member. You had people saying goodbye to their family members on a phone, crying, because they can't even go down and see them. They can't even go down and support them. Can't even go down and look in their face one last time because of some doggone vaccination and some old, probably, you know, at this point, man, you know, with all of the trials and all of this impeachment garbage that they tried against that man, Donald Trump, who knows where this virus come from? All we know that, yes, a lot of people died, but nobody died from the flu, ironically, over those few years, over those 2 years. Don't say I'm lying. Look it up. They made jokes about it. The flu is on vacation. So, you know, was it the flu with a different name, or was it actually something real? All I know is whatever it is, they're not letting it go. They are hitting that nail until it's not just in the ground or in the wood, they hitting it through the wood. Teachers, you know, those people that are supposed to teach our kids before they start talking about the transgender stuff, teaching our kids education, the teachers that actually cared enough to say, I'm gonna go, I'll be willing to go and teach these children, the teachers that cared enough to say, yeah, I'll do this online schooling, those teachers were also fired if they wouldn't do vaccinations. The people that stood on the front line, police, military. I mean, I ain't in the military, and I don't even, to be honest, I don't even agree a lot with people that say I'm willing to kill based on when my government tell me to kill. But it is a branch in the United States that has protected United States, and every country has a military branch that is supposed to protect them. So I'm not shunning the military either. I'm just saying I don't agree with no group of people who will line up and go kill according to another man or a set of principles. But even in the military, those people that risk their lives on the front line and put on a uniform to say, I will kill for my nation, were fired, sent home, all behind whether they were willing to be vaccinated or not. And you mean to tell me all I had to do, all some of these military people had to do, some of these nurses, teachers, and doctors and police that were fired for not being vaccinated, all we got to do is go to Mexico and walk back in the country. By the way, if you're pregnant and you're looking for baby formula, that's another way to get it. I'm told, and the reports are live and true, there's so much baby formula on the border, it's a shame. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people start going to the border to mate, because that's where all the baby formula is, or to have their babies, I should say, because that's where all the baby formula is. Dr. Ray Everett, I appreciate you for joining. And I bet you, I know those are some good words right there. I said Dr. Ray, that might be D Ray, but I appreciate you for either way it go. And yeah, so it's like, take the best tennis player in the world. You know, I mean, you know, that's up for argument. But we'll take Novak Djokovic. There's a guy that played in the US Open last year, not 5 years ago, last year, at the height of the coronavirus, like, you know, possibly the height. All right, now we got the CDC coming out saying we messed up. All right, they said we messed up. If CNN not talking about it enough, get off CNN, man. Y'all being dumbed down. The CDC has come out and say we effed up. All right, drop all of this nonsense. And as soon as they said it, you had other states double down on the nonsense. This Krown Deon, unapologetically revolutionary, 1340 Tan Talk Radio, 1340 AM, that is. But we also have a sister station at 106.1 FM. You can join us live always, or you can call us and join us live or comment at 727-441-3000. And I'm talking fast because there's so much to say. You know, somebody told me to slow down just a little bit. And you know what? That was good advice. So let me slow down. As they say, I've never done yoga, but woosah. All right. But when you're talking about this, you can't help it. You can't help but take off. I mean, man. And so the best tennis player in the world who played in the US Open last year is now being told you can't play this year. After the CDC says we messed up, after we find out the viruses or the vaccines have absolutely no effect on whether you can pass it or whether you won't catch it. It has an effect on how sick you may get, but nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with whether you can get it or not. If you need proof of that, look at your own Joe Biden, who has had it probably 3 or 4 times by now, him and his wife. And so, and I'm not picking, I'm just saying that's a fact. They you know, they're still here. And you know, and like I said, I'm just using him for an example. The people that pushed it the most have actually had it more than anybody I know. And the people that are not vaccinated are some of the healthiest people I know. At period, point blank. President of the United States in extreme crowded event, no mask, walking solo, app on the airplane with mask on. It is so much hypocrisy, you know, so much for people to see, but no truth in it. Like she says, this guy's walking on a plane with a mask on, but he's in a fully crowded room, then had coronavirus 3 or 4 times, coughing in his hand. As soon as he coughs in his hand, he reaches around and shakes somebody's hand, and he wonder why people are backing up. You know, I mean, it's almost funny at this point. This guy is actually a funny guy. And so, yeah, it's kind of funny. I wanted to talk about slow down. All right. So in talking about the vaccinations, well, first of all, though the Novak Djokovic, this guy can't come play in the US Open. There are people that still can't go to school because they didn't get vaccinated and they don't have remote schooling. There are people that can't go here. There are military branch people that have been let go. All of, I think, if you're not vaccinated, the armed guards or special forces type people, you've been let go. Doctors, nurses have been fired. But if you're at the border, if you're a foreigner, if you sneak into this country, or right now, if you come in the right way, they open the gate. If you come in at the right access point, they literally open the gate for you and close it. It's all over, you know, some of these news media that are truly upset with America. And so that is huge hypocrisy when they are, and that is a slap in the face of you, the people, me, and anybody else that's been looking to government and says, you know, the funny thing, the hypocrisy about it. I'm writing a book about it, so I don't talk about it much. And it's sad because me, Deja, and a few more Facebook listeners and a few Instagram fans, and the rest will be Caucasian people, sadly to say. That is so sad. But those are the people that will buy and support my book. But I am writing a book about it. And it's amazing to me that we see the hypocrisy and in the FBI, right? Listen. But when poor people and blacks that have been arrested and done wrong, cases fixed against them, you know, kind of like Trump, lied on by the FBI, you know, kind of like Trump, or lied on by cops, you know, and since Trump is the president, he's not dealing with common cops, he's dealing with bigger cops. So I'm just saying, you know, blacks, poor people, Latino people all over this country have been saying things like, I was set up. They lied on me. This did not happen. And this ain't true. And you know what? It's been media. It's been some of these news people who get on the news right now and their whole head is about to explode because now they see the hypocrisy in the FBI, but they only see it because it's happening to Donald Trump and a few more people. But now you get to see what we've been feeling for years. You know, I want all Republicans and all Donald Trump supporters to understand that You still might not want to believe it because I'm black and I'm talking about poor people or black people or people that you might consider as criminals. But what I'm saying is there's a group, millions of people. And out of those millions, obviously not all of them, but there's a good percentage of millions of people that have had this same claim, this same cry, this same insult to justice to happen to them that is happening to Trump on a much smaller level, where government has went out of their way, broke the law, did all kind of illegal things, and somebody went to prison. And guess what? Joe Biden was the man in charge of making sure blacks went to prison a long time ago with the crime bill. Yeah, I'm gonna keep calling that. I'm gonna keep calling that out. The crime bill, the crime bill, the crime bill. You know, and who threw away the crime bill 25 years later after Clinton, who blacks love so much, after Barack Obama, who was black and blacks loved so much. It was after those people that Trump came and tossed out this racist law that was brought up or put into legislation and passed by Joe Biden, actually put in the legislation or brought up by our current president, Joe Biden, but passed by Bill Clinton, the other one that people that blacks love so much. Well, he was down with that, and he knew that, you know, they always said if you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. That's not me saying it. I'm just saying that's a common saying. And you know what? Politicians believe it. They believe it. I know they believe it because they spit in our face all the time. They lie to us, and then they make jokes about the lies right in our face, and we sit there. Most of us, but not me. I told you so. I'm gonna keep on saying it. I don't like to say it, but if it's the truth, I can say it, right? I told you. And so now you're listening to Krown, Deon, Unapologetically Revolutionary. We had a good one. We just kind of going in, and as always, you know, I have a lot of notes, but I can get so far away from those notes because, you know, yeah, notes are good, but sometimes you just got to go with the heart, and these different things keep coming up, different examples and just different and things in real time, not stuff that I wrote an hour or 2 hours ago. So I like to have real time thought, and you know, I think it goes a lot better. And so we're talking about Mark Zuckerberg coming to actually acknowledge that the FBI said, hey, don't let the Hunter Biden story get out. Don't let people share it. We need you basically to help us win this election. And if you let the truth out, President Trump will win. And so Zuckerberg did exactly what they said what they asked him to do. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. The FBI knocked on his door. And so that shows you how shady the FBI is. And if you're paying attention, you now know that Donald Trump is suing Hillary Clinton, and he is, the lawsuit looks great. As a matter of fact, she'll probably settle because of the lies that they told. And so they're actually acknowledging all of those lies. Those lies made a lot of people upset with Donald Trump, and they started buying into anything and started calling him all kinds of things. But now that we know that these lies were bought up and paid for by the FBI, and the same FBI is running around the country raiding people, you know, and then we look and see that the IRS has gotten 87 more thousand agents with guns. These ain't the typical IRS agent knocking on your door saying, hey, you owe us a little money. You know, we'll wait patiently. They got guns now. So what does that mean? That means they probably gonna be knocking with a different attitude. You know, they're gonna be trying to lock people up. And I mean, I'm just saying, why would an IRS agent need a gun? You know, think about the people that go to jail for child support or some BS like that, or I don't know what else they sending people to jail for, but I'm just saying, if they If they locking up people for child support, and now they're giving the IRS guns, 87,000 new IRS agents put on the street to hunt down poor people. And they got guns. I'm trying to wonder what those guns are for. And when I think of sometimes people getting locked up and they come into people's house to lock them up for a child support warrant, if that person who had that child support warrant was to run or resist, you know, just because he don't want to go that day, you know, you know, anything could happen. You know, you could move the wrong way. Just anybody who lives in the ghetto, they know I'm telling the truth and they know what I'm talking about. The only thing it takes to get a resisting arrest charge is for you to fart, or for you to look back, or for you to move the wrong way, or for you to even raise your voice the wrong way. You could turn your head trying to see why he doing it so hard. If you turn your head, you just insulted, I meant to say assaulted an officer. So I'm just saying, to me, when you tell me an IRS agent needs a gun, that tells me that they are no longer looking for this money in just your mailbox. In other words, they're not just sending out letters. Yeah. Boy, they're not just sending out mailbox warnings anymore. You know, if you hire 87,000 people and give them guns, and those people their only job is to look for money, then they are looking for that money a little bit differently than they look for that money before. And so everybody need to be aware of that. If you haven't heard, in the year 2035, they will no longer be making gas-powered vehicles. Did you know that? I'm pretty sure you didn't. 14 other states has followed California. So we're talking about California and Virginia and 14 other states. What states right now, I don't know, but we can be sure that it's not Florida as long as we got somebody like DeSantis. If you sleep, man, if you just get off the Democrat bandwagon, that don't mean you have to vote Republican. But if you are down with your children, these people are teaching our kids all kind of stuff. They got doctors asking your child. I'm talking about kids of all ages. I'm talking about children that shouldn't be asked nothing about their gender or sex unless it's an issue. Unless they getting what they call them things, a circumcision. That's the only time a doctor should be asking your son about his pee-pee. Right? That's it. They got doctors asking kids about their stuff. They are slowly but surely, institutionally putting it in there. And parents, you better wake up. And if you don't, you was part of the problem and you was down with it. And I hope your kids hold you accountable in the future. I really do. Because you are down with this mess if you ain't standing up for it. I hope some of y'all children learn to look back at you and say, well, mom or dad, how did you vote? How did you feel about this? How could you do this just because it didn't directly affect you? I mean, how dare some of y'all do this? This is some BS, man. I don't have no infant kids. I don't have no child under the age of 18. Matter of fact, I don't have no kids under 25. But I got grandkids, and I hope one day my grandkids will have kids. I hope the lineage keep going. But do you not understand that this is how you can stop lineage? They got TV shows talking about adopted societies only. What does that come from? Shutting down society in the way that it is now. In other words, the natural form or way of birth that's going on now, the regular family structure, the man, the woman, all of that stuff, man, adoptive societies only, because women aren't women and men aren't men, so babies aren't born. Nah, y'all better, we got to wake up. We got to wake up and, man, we got to be informed by truth and we got to look for it. If you hear somebody calling somebody else's narrative crazy, you might need to check out that crazy narrative. If more than one news channel, if all of the news channels are saying it at one time, consider them bought. Okay? This your boy Krown Deon. I appreciate that, my brother. This your boy Krown Deon. And anytime you want to join, man, please let me know. We can make that happen. Because we need voices like that. We need voices like ourselves, voices that it's sad and it's true, and I hate to say it, but when most of us look up, most of our people, Black and poor people, we look up and we notice some garbage bill has been passed, and we sitting there looking stupid talking about when they did that. Oh, for real? Oh, when that, yeah, you dang right they did it. And they did it right in your face. Remember how many Black people wanted to vote for governor for this guy, I forgot his name. But the last guy who DeSantis beat, I ain't picking on him. I won't even say his name. Gillum, I just said it, my bad. But I need to say it because you need to be reminded. Remember after he lost, he ended up having to apologize to his wife for being caught in the hotel with prostitutes and crack. He was a crackhead. That Black people was willing to put in a crackhead as the governor because you fall for everybody that sound like a preacher. And we fall for all, don't forget Chain Gang Charlie. Yeah, they ready to put him back in. It's a reason why they call him Chain Gang Charlie. Let me say this real quick for all of those who love Chain Gang Charlie. Anybody that can come to you as a Republican and win, and then turn around and lie to your face so good that they can win also as a Democrat, that person a snake. I mean, that person is cunning and deceptive, okay? All right, man, this your boy Krown Deon. I got to get out of here. Always unapologetically revolutionary. I appreciate your 1340 AM WTAN Tan Talk Radio. Matthew back in the studios. Yes, indeed. Oh, yes, he won the election to run against DeSantis. Oh, you scared me for a minute. Woo-hoo. Yeah, but he got to run against DeSantis coming up next. And hopefully, you know, I don't love DeSantis, but the fact that DeSantis standing up for the babies, that's enough for me. You can name 5 things bad about DeSantis. You can name 10. The fact that he's standing up and saying you won't teach transgender education to children under a certain age in these schools in Florida, you know what? That's enough for me to say, go DeSantis. And so, because Chang ain't Charlie, he gonna be whatever the Democrats tell him to do. Val Demings, too, and any other Democrat at this point. Stacey Abrams, all of them. They depending on us to be stupid. And when Mark Zuckerberg come out and make statements like he did with Joe Rogan, he is in fact telling you that we are stupid, and he used Facebook to help keep us stupid. And guess what? You ain't going nowhere. You're gonna stay on Facebook. You're gonna keep making sure I'm a billionaire. This your boy Krown Deon. I am out. God is good. I don't have time for my closeout song, but I appreciate you, Matthew. I'll talk to y'all next week, man. That's what it is. Always. Good night, Deja, Matthew, Facebook, Instagram, 1340 AM. That's that. I like so many different things going. I ain't know how to stop it. Boop, boop.